Firstly, my questions to Vivek and Julie are, considering the tough times every business is facing due to COVID-19, how do you think employee experience platforms can become a priority for all? Maybe I'll begin with you, Vivek, first, please.
Thank you, John. I believe this is a very pertinent and contextual question, John. Yes, we are going through a tough time, but I believe that more than ever, there is a need to provide immersive employee experience. We all know that it's going to be virtual or hybrid workplace in the new normal. And this shift in the workplace means that there is a greater need of providing effective employee experience. And there are, in fact, there are significant tangible and intangible benefits of employee experience platforms. Tangible would be that these platforms are able to provide effortless experience, which means that we are saving significant productive hours, which has a direct impact on business. And intangible would be that these platforms, they lead to creating a high level of engagement and happiness, which in turn leads to discretionary effort, which is the need of the hour in the COVID times. And subsequently, that leads to a business impact. And further, we all know that employee safety and well-being, communication, learning, etc., are all very significant in the context of current times. And Humane, the employee experience platform which we have, it enables effective experience in all of these areas, all of these touch points and moments which matters to our people. So and the answer to your question would be that employee experience platforms are more important than ever. It's an imminent need. Request Julie to add her view.
Sure, thanks, Vivek. I think the drastic shift to remote work has really shown a light on just how dramatically different our work experiences can be from what we were used to before. And as the world turns back to a new normal, all eyes and ears are going to be on what the new experience is. So now more than ever, HR folks and really all areas of the operations are going to focus on how to enrich and deliver the best possible experience to counteract all of that, all the challenges that our people resources are facing. Sometimes people experience impact can be had very quickly, right? So, it takes a while to deploy your new cloud platforms or, some of the applications and being able to figure out and bridge that experience in some quick fashion while you're getting some of your foundational items settled, is something that I think we'll see folks interested in here in the coming months. Let me maybe pass back to John.
Thanks, Julie. My next question I have is for you as well as for Dimon, but in your view, how have experience platforms considerably brought in tangible and intangible business benefits, and in some cases shaped changes in business models? Will you please provide any examples or state your own experiences? Over to you, Julie. I'll begin with you.
Okay, sure. So in this area, I think one of the things that I'll point to is onboarding. It's been an area of focus for a lot of organizations, mostly because it's the first touch point, and it's a pretty heavy touch point for newfound employees, coming into the organization. There's such an opportunity here to go beyond setup tasks and and to show the extent to which experience can involve and engage various parts of the organization. So really nailing the coordination with between and among HR, but also IT and facility setup things that are required so that you can actually be productive, equipment, uniforms, the tools and experience for training or getting introduced to your managers and your teams. And so that's been an area where folks are really trying to make an impact or a difference right from the get-go. And it's such a concentrated focal point that would be the example that I would point to. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Then Dimon, if you don't mind, please, if you have some perspective there, we'd love to hear.
Yeah. Thanks, John. So yeah, I'll just add a couple of more use cases and scenarios, which is really disrupting the entire employee experience landscape, right? So one is obviously the entire concept of intelligence or AI-based job rotation. So we all know that in all the organizations, in all the progressive organizations, we have job portals, and employees actually go and apply for the new opportunities within the organization, right? But what we have done is we have flipped it over. We are saying that the employees don't really need to go and apply, right? It's a system. It's the employee experience platform which knows the demand, which knows the employees to their best and knows their skill sets, and they can provide nudges, or they can provide even proactive applications to those jobs which they can apply for, right? So that's one example of an AI based job rotation that we have implemented as part of our platform. The second is in a very similar line, right? In this knowledge industry, especially in this tech savvy industry, staying relevant and staying updated, it's very important. So upskilling and reskilling oneself is as a need of the hour, and more digital is proliferating. This becomes an imperative for all enterprises that they're able to upskill and keep their employees up to date. Again, based on the skill ecosystem, based on the skill base that the employees have, the system actually provides nudges that these are the skills which are more relevant. These are the skills where the customers are actually having the demand. And the system recommends training. The system actually nudges the employees to actually take up those training instead of waiting for the employees to really look for the demand. What it helps with, obviously, there is a significant impact of this on employee retention. Because having said all of that, the employee works for an organization when he or she knows that he is able to learn something from the organization. And if the organization is providing that experience, that capability, that it itself offers upfront training, upfront roles to the employee, nothing can really be better as compared to that, right? So there is a significant amount of employee retention, employee engagement that happens due to these two factors that I mentioned. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Dimon. I appreciate that. My next question is for both Vivek and Julie again, and I'll begin with Vivek. But what challenges can an organization face during the implementation and adoption of an experience platform, and how do they adopt and overcome such challenges? Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, John. Good question. So, John, essentially, what is important is that we have our employees touch and feel the experience platform. So what is very important here is that there is a change in mindset which enables employees to really experience these platforms. And we obviously have to apply all those change management principles to overcome such challenges. But what is most important, and that is an important point to understand here. So principally, employee experience platforms, they are built to tackle any challenges which employees face in the touch points with organization. And the whole objective of these platforms is to ensure that they provide effortless experience through insighting and also making it sure that they address any challenge proactively with respect to the touch points. And what is also important is that these platforms are intuitive and able to wow the user. So if it is about that, then it is very crucial that we take steps proactively, and it is important that we have a comprehensive insighting and we work with the employees and we apply the experience design principles so that the platforms are extremely intuitive and user friendly. And what is also important is that we communicate the value of the employee experience platforms extensively, so that everybody understands what they are going to get out of these platforms and they start touching and feeling it. And once they start doing it, the platform should be built in a way that they are hooked to it. And what is also important, it's a continuous journey. It is not that we have built it and we are there. What is also important is that we stay relevant in terms of the experience which we provide, continuously listen to our employees, make it sure that these platforms continue to provide right experience and it caters to the need of employees. And we stay focused in terms of understanding the moments which matter. And possibly it's extremely relevant in the current context. We were pre-COVID focusing on moments that matter in the physical workplace. Now we have to focus on moments which will matter in the virtual workplace. So what is important from adoption and what is important from the perspective of dealing with the challenges is that we stay focused on continuously listening and continuously enhancing these platforms. Julie, over to you for your view.
Thanks for reiterating the importance of change management. I can't tell you how many times I find that it's the first thing that gets cut out of the budget or out of the project plan or out of the sphere of getting something done, and it's so critical. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, like, we see about half of all companies approaching HR transformation as a problem to be solved by a specific software or tool. So usually there's a mandate to achieve something or deploy something, or get some features in place as soon as possible, right? That's about at least half of folks that are making changes approach it that way. So you're focused on configuration, your rules, and all the technical details. And that's a big deal if you're solving for some decentralized or manual processes. But the miss here is the chance to really revisit the experience from start to finish with fresh eyes. And so, being able to question what's even necessary. Do I need to be doing all the same things that I'm doing now? How should it fit with other related actions? And maybe that's not the way it fits today, but we should be looking at that differently because that's the way that activity or the context that activity fits. And then what inputs and outcomes are really wanted or needed so that we can focus on those from an experience perspective and then capture the back office, activity along the way. One of the things that I've seen folks do to overcome some of these challenges is really making some part of the overall team responsible for seeking out voice of the customer, engaging employees and managers, folks that do care and have specific feelings and opinions about their interactions to accomplish certain things. That's so often overlooked when we're thinking about the automation, the technology that needs to drive some of these back office actors and processes and notifications. And it just makes such a big difference. So that's what I would highlight. Back to you, John.
That's great. Well, thank you, Julia. That's very interesting perspective, and definitely appreciate it. So my last question that I have, then we'll go to a Q&A and post that. But and this is for Dimon. How are new technologies such as cloud native analytics and AI able to address value adds in business from the perspective of employee journeys? Over to you, Dimon.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for asking that question. As you know, in today's digital world, technology has a last say, right? So technology is essentially the one which is driving the entire disruption, right? If you look at the entire ecosystem change that has happened due to this virtual work from home and things like that, the only thing that it's still keeping the ecosystem stable is technology. So coming back to the employee experience platform, as I mentioned, AI is at the core, right? And AI has various avatars of it. So we have seen AI in terms of predicting behaviors. We have seen AI in doing descriptive modeling. We have seen AI doing some amount of supervised learning. But now we are essentially talking about a significant different avatar of AI, which is called the behavioral AI, right? The need to understand human emotions, the need to understand how overjoyed or how sorrowful a person is when he is talking. So based on his facial gestures, right? I need to understand the intonations in terms of the kind of the voice modulations that you are going to capture. Then there are again two perspectives to that, right? One is, as Vivek mentioned, the moments that matter, but we need to have platforms which capture those moments, right? So we need to have intelligent platforms which are able to capture those intents that the employees are continuously exchanging with the enterprise. And then comes the fact that I need to synthesize all those moments that matter, all those moments of truth, with all the interaction that the employee have had with the enterprise through this platform, and come back with an in the moment intelligent response. So that's the experience part of it, which obviously is significantly fueled by AI. Automation, as I said, plays a very important role because a lot of the HR processes, a lot of these employee touch points, interactions today are impacted by the cycle time that our typical HCM systems take, right? And automation across HCM systems is something unique which human brings in, and that actually significantly reduces cycle time and hence improves the employee experience in several facets of employee engagement within the organization. Comes to visualization, as I mentioned, employees are looking for a single pane of glass. We really need to provide the employees, their managers, and various avatars which are present in the enterprise a single interface through which they can actually interact with the enterprise, right? Interfaces which really captures those moments of truth that the employee is exchanging with the enterprise. Last but not the least, elements like integration plays a very important role, because especially for disparate systems, especially for organizations which are spread all over the geo and they have geo specific systems, integration and hybrid integration, as it is the right way to integrate in the digital world, hybrid integration plays a very important role. And last but not the least, they need to be mobile first or device first, because there is a explosion of devices and wearables which is happening, and we need to deliver experiences to all those devices. So device first, cloud native, I think these are the fabric which is driving the employee experience of today.